Did you see the season opener to The White Lotus Season 3? I did, and it was really interesting. Hi, this is Ted Meissner, and welcome to Mindfulness Voyage. I'm glad you could be here. Please do like and subscribe if you get something out of these podcasts. And today we'll be doing something a little bit different. I'm not going to wreck the show at all with any spoilers about it, just to say that the opening sequence is beautifully done and is a guided meditation. But as a mindfulness teacher, I have some responses and thoughts about how that was done. I want to make clear here two things. First is that mindfulness means lots of different things to different people. There are lots of different ways to do meditation. And what I'm representing here is the way in which I teach about meditation. Some of the things that can come up with the way the meditation was done on the show. The second thing is that I think the way the writers and producers of The White Lotus did this was intentional. You got to remember, every aspect of this show is about the underlying complexities of things, and that they are not always as they seem. This was an excellent example of a meditation that was not all it seems and might not always be so helpful to people who are participating in it. So what I'm going to do is show a little bit of a clip with some quotes in it, and then we'll unpack each of those. Let's give it a go.
Okay. Shall we begin?
Yeah, let's do it.
Just close your eyes for me. Take a moment to settle and focus on your breathing. Inhale and exhale, fully release. Let us calm our chattering monkey minds and find in the silence what is timeless. Breathe in slowly and breathe out.
As I mentioned, I'm not going to show the entire clip, just the first little bit of the guided meditation in the season premiere. And we're going to talk about each one of the different sections that is said in that guided meditation. The first part of this, close your eyes for me. There are a couple of issues that I have with that. One is that closing the eyes is not a comfortable experience for everyone who does a meditation practice. In fact, it may be close your eyes one day and it feels more supportive and comfortable for you to have them open the next. That's perfectly fine. So closing your eyes for me is problematic from a sense that it may be causing some tension and some stress for the person who's being guided. Another part of that one sentence, close your eyes for me, establishes a dynamic that the meditation is about pleasing the teacher instead of whatever it is you plan to get out of the practice itself. All right, the second sentence in our hit parade on this guided meditation is, take a moment to settle. Now, one of the things that this does is, again, establish an intention for the person who's doing the meditation that settling down is the goal, when it might not be. It may be something else entirely, or it may be an aspiration that we have with the practice, but it's just a bit too remote and inaccessible. We might be sitting down to a practice because we're very amped up and tense and frustrated and a whole bunch of other things too. So again, the dynamic of establishing this standard of it's about settling, and if you don't settle in just a few moments, in fact, a moment to settle, then you feel like you're failing at it, or there's something wrong with meditation, or it's just not working. And that's not so. Okay, moving on to our next part. And focus on your breathing. Inhale and exhale, fully release. There's a lot here, and I will simply state that our practice with breathing is not about the breath, it's about experiencing a focused attention anchor. These anchors for attention might be neutral experiences. It's why breathing is such a helpful one for many of us, but also not so much for others. For a whole bunch of reasons, breathing might not be a helpful anchor for everyone. Your experience, your lifetime is unique, and respecting that is part of doing a guided meditation. Here, it's very directive, focusing on breathing, and no alternatives are given. That's maybe not a best practice for trauma-sensitive mindfulness. And that doesn't mean that you have to have a history of overt trauma to be uncomfortable focusing on the breath. You might have a cold, and breathing is difficult right now. It also puts on the end there, fully release. Again, establishing one of those standards you have to meet or you're doing it wrong. And that's why we tend not to do guidance in this way. Okay, number 4 on our list. Let us calm our chattering monkey minds and find in the silence what is timeless. While that is a beautiful sentence, it really is, it also, again, establishes a standard here. Calmness. Calming a chattering monkey mind as if thinking itself is a bad thing. Thoughts happen. They are part of the environment of this moment, like sounds are happening too, but we're not trying to silence those. It may be more helpful for people to notice that thoughts are happening and just bring attention back to whatever the anchor happens to be in that moment. It also says, find in the silence. It might not be silent. It might be a very loud area. There might be lots of distracting sounds, sensations, emotions, thoughts going on. That's part of a mindfulness practice. And what is timeless? The last part of that, what does that even mean? That could be really a difficult reach for someone, especially if it's an early or maybe first time they're trying a meditation practice. The last part I'm going to share here is the instruction to breathe in slowly and breathe out. Again, this is reinforcing that the focus, the anchor for your attention has to be the breath, and there's nothing else it could be, when there can be lots of different attentional anchors to bring you back into this moment comfortably. It also tells you to control the breath. Breathe in slowly. It's okay to take a nice, slow, deep breath now and then if that helps you reconnect with the feel of it. But what is it like to experience breathing happening on its own without having to change anything and just be with that experience? That might be a little bit more helpful for many of us, especially early on with our meditation practice, and allowing there to be a different options around what our attentional anchor might be. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you got a lot out of this episode and enjoyed it, and I do encourage you to check out the White Lotus. It is a really good program. And remember, every moment you have a choice. Make it the best you can, and I'll see you next time on Mindfulness Voyage.